I moved in with my son after my wife died. The first night, I got closer to my grandchildren. My son-in-law changed the locks on the "We need limits," he said about the bathroom. He made me ask for a pass to eat. My daughter just stirred the soup over and over. "Yes, Dad, you're not a guest. You load me down." The day they went on holiday, they didn't give me any food. What I did after getting the car keys, I was shocked too. My wife died last year. Cancer that began in her breast and spread quickly. She was gone in 8 months. With her every day while she was getting chemo, the hospice, the quiet at the end. When it was over, I did nothing but stare in my house. I looked at her old shoes next to the bed. I was 68 years old and couldn't sleep or eat. I thought I was already dead all of a sudden. Also, everything was quiet after the funeral. Friends stopped calling people at my church then. That brought food for a week. My daughter Dana also checked in. Sometimes her husband Rick, not a lot, but Dana finally suggested I move in with them in Louisville it would bring me closer to my grandchildren. I sold the house to keep myself busy. I moved with what little I had left. I wasn't ready for a red carpet, but I also didn't expect what I got that day. Rick stayed on the porch while I got there. I brought my own bag and Dana hugged me. I quickly told the kids to say hello to Grandpa. They greeted me with hugs, went to their TVs. The house was. Rick led me down a big, clean, and quiet path to the basement where I was going to stay. The basement was done, but the concrete was cold. Very thin rug on the floor, futon, small fridge. No, not a stove, sink, or window around the room. I wanted to use the bathroom, but before I could, Rick gave me a key and said, "This is for the..." He said, "I want to keep things in order. Set clear limits," he added. That told me everything I didn't want to know. To start a fight on the first day? I said yes. I was sore the next morning because of that. Got off the couch and went upstairs to make coffee. Dana was making a mess on the stove. Rick was working on his laptop at the table. He looked up as he opened the cupboard. Going somewhere, I thought he was kidding. I laughed. He didn't. "We'd rather have you." He said, "We're teaching the children about rules. Can't have people getting food whenever they want." I guess I was just a person now. Dana didn't even raise an eyebrow. As she stirred her soup, she said, "He's yes, Dad. You're not a friend. You're a..." She said it flat. I swear to God. It seemed like she was reading from a script. My chest felt tight, so I just nodded. Went back downstairs. That word bounced all day. Burden from. After that, I didn't say anything and stayed in the did what I could to eat in the basement. They didn't offer to let me order on my phone. Attend dinners with me sometimes, text me to ask if I can pick up the kids, pick me up from school, or help me fold clothes. Yes, even when Rick rolled his eyes when I didn't fold his clothes. Even when they had people over and faked that I didn't live there one night. Rick told me to put my shoes on. My kids were tripping over it. They were lined up neatly next to the Dana asked me another night if I could lessen the sounds of people walking at night. I went to the bathroom twice without making a sound. Socks. That must have been annoying. The last straw was when they said 5 days at Myrtle Beach. On a family trip, I asked if I could come along. Dana said, "Come along and pay my own way." Rick said, "We need some time spent with the nuclear family." That was I told Rich I would watch the house, while after they left, Rick said, "You'll be here." Anyway, on that Saturday, they packed up. Before they left, Rick got out of the car and let go of the car keys. "Just for your own safety," he said. "Don't want you to come in." I asked, "Can I get lost or something? I go to the store at least?" Rick, "We stocked your fridge," he said with a smile. Said they hadn't when they left. I opened the small fridge at the curb. A mustard bottle and an old water. That's it. I looked upstairs. Basically padlocked. The cupboard is locked. I looked in the trash and saw 2 whole bread and a chicken on a spit on the grill sitting on top of it, not even touching it, threw away food before they left with a message in mind. I sat at there being alone at the kitchen table made me feel better. I was really mad at my daughter, own blood. After everything I did for on all those nights she rocked her when she had asthma after paying for her, I didn't plan what I would do for her college wedding. What I did next. It just happened. I went into Rick's room, which he always talked up his home vault to friends who liked it. He was some kind of big shot. I knew the code 2007, the year of their wedding, 11 his old college shirt. I saw him punch it. And when I was getting his mail one time, I opened it and found some small bills inside. Looks at a loaded Glock that I brought with me. $300 in 20s. That's all I did. Gun, I left a note for you. You took the keys? I'm not your slave. I locked the food. Not your kid. I'm not your trouble. I took a taxi, paid cash, and went to a long-term hotel across town. It smelled like smoke, but I couldn't let me breathe. That night, I ate a burger and fries. A beer. My first hot meal in days, I slept like a rock the next morning. I opened my PC and got in touch with my lawyer, C. Dana. I didn't know this before my wife died. She told me to save some cash in case. She didn't trust him in case something went wrong. Rick, she had this look on her face. When Dana last went to she saw someone told me something I didn't hear. $140,000 in life insurance, she told me. To get away from everyone, I used part of it to get a small apartment in a side of Louisville that works-class people live on one side for me, and someone else who needs it more than my daughter ever did. I met Lisa works at the food bank. She is single. A mom of two who is trying to get away from abusing my ex. I gave her the other half of the single-family home for $1 a month until she got back. She cried out loud and stood up saying no one had ever been nice to her. At the same time, Rick left me a long message of fake anger. You stole from us. You should go back and explain yourself. I texted one before I called the police. Get in touch with them and explain. You took my keys and locked up my food like I was a pet. Haven't heard from him since I stopped both of their calls after I miss my grandchildren still. That's the only part that hurts is what I did. Rick and Dana tried to make peace with it. Make me feel like I'm not important. It turned out I just had to leave to remember who I really was. 3 weeks after. When I moved into the duplex, I began to no more breathing like a real person. Locks on the doors. No one is looking at I would get up early and make my own moves. Drink coffee, sit on the porch, and listen. To the birds. Peace like that, understand how important it is, until someone Lisa and her 2 boys are taken away. Moved in next door the following week. They only had one small bag, a broken laptop, and a box of cold food from the boys' church pantry. Lisa was quiet and looked tired all over. As if they hadn't slept safely in years ago, I gave her the old couch that my wife used, and I bought some things on Craigslist, a stove, a table, and some bunk beds. Cried again and said she thought God had sent me. I told her the truth. I'm just an old man with no one left to love. You gave me once more having someone to care about good and easy until I saw Dana's car. Tuesday, they were parked down the street. Good morning. I just got back from the same gray SUV she did at the grocery store. I always had covered windows on my car. Parked right in front of my house. Just I stood there for a while, about 5 houses down. With bags full of groceries just looking at. After 2 days, I saw it drive off. I got a letter in the mail that I need to return. Address. There was a picture of me. And Lisa's boys are happy and sitting on the porch. They asked me to help them build a nest. Black Sharpie was used to write across the picture. You switched out your grandchildren for throw away. It's not signed, but I didn't need one. Someone cut my tires the next night. Not by chance. My friend across the street said he saw a man in a hoodie. Getting close to my car at midnight, he seemed to be trying to stay low, but Rick had a bad limp. I didn't call. After having knee surgery last fall, I didn't want any more trouble cops. After that, something changed in me. After putting on a fake smile, I went to a lawyer, not the old one who took care of my will. This one was more bold and sharp. I told him everything about how I'd been, how they tried to control me was wrong, how they left me. I had pictures and texts. The message from Rick, I asked one, "Is there anything I can do to make sure?" They never touch my money or me. Once more, he smiled and said, "Oh yeah." Rewrote the will and sealed it with a third-party guardian, made sure that Dana and the law said that Rick had to leave every power of attorney gone on paper health. He even helped me set up a put your kid's faith in Lisa's name. Just I thought everything was locked up. Rick went to the apartment in the middle of the whenever I mowed the front lawn, pulled up in his car like it was nothing. Things that happened. Walked up the driveway, arms across. "Hey, we need to talk, old man," he said. I didn't, he said with a fake smile. Answer: I see that you've been moving around. Lawyers who work with trust funds, I get it. I'm mad, but we're family, he said. The look in his eyes told me that fake text message he used to hide. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. You really want to leave everything up to a random woman? Those jerk kids think that's what My wife would have liked it if I hadn't moved. Didn't blink. Then I told her, you need to. He didn't leave. Right away, he smirked. I just wanted to say that we're contesting everything the house. You're not thinking straight. A past of depression, okay, we'll make the case. I didn't say anything. I just stepped 5 minutes inside and the door locked. After that, I called the new lawyer and told him what did he say. He gave the order suggesting cams for keeping track of any threats. There were paper trails for everything. That night I told the boys and Lisa to stay inside. Rick had done something wrong after dark. He was about to find out that I don't play nice. Ever again. After Rick showed up, I couldn't let down my guard again. I put up security cams that night. Front door, back alley, side fence, and one facing the street. My lawyer helped me record everything so that any video would wait in court. He also told me to write down everything, including dates and times. 3 days later, Dana showed up. She didn't knock. She just walked in the side gate and began yelling from my porch and said, "Dad, I need to talk to you." Lisa looked out her window and called me right away. I got up and locked eyes with my daughter. She looked tired, and her hair and eyes were a mess. For a second, it looked like she was crying. I thought she might have something to say. I'm sorry, but no. She took out a folder and pushed it into my hands. This is she said, the claim for guardianship. It's clear that someone is trying to trick you. Cut off your family, moved money too. We're not going to let you in as strangers. I destroyed everything. My mom left for us. No words could come out as I opened the folder. It was true. She had hired a lawyer. I wasn't stable mentally, Lisa said. Prayer for an old man who is sad. That's what the news stories called her. As I prayed, I took the folder and looked her in. Looked me in the eye and asked the only thing I had to ask. Do you really think I'm not right in the head? Or is this just Dana didn't answer the question about the money? She turned around, walked down the stairs, and got in. SUV and pulled. Away like a teen slammed the door after a temper tantrum. She stood there with a beating heart. Take charge of everything I do like She forgot to bring a tool with her. I went back until I could be helpful again. Inside and gave Lisa the papers, shaking hands. They'll come after you. I told them they had already called you it doesn't matter what they call me, predator. She told him, I don't want to see you. Get hurt. The following day, my lawyer sent a motion to get rid of the guardianship. He also asked for a protection order. Order against Rick because of the car, the damage, and the threats. He told me we chanced, but he told me this was going to get bad before it did better. He was right. After 2 weeks, I got a visit from CPS, was told that Lisa was having a child. Neglecting them, and living with an old guy who is dangerous and has mental not stable. They asked her boys, asked her to look through her pantry, asked if I'd ever been by myself with them. I knew Lisa cried when they left, said, I knew they'd need your love against you. The case was closed 2 days later. Afterward said there was no reason for worry, but the harm was already done. Lisa's. The boys were scared that she couldn't sleep. I called my lawyer again that night and told I didn't just want to speak to him. Protect myself. I wanted to show them up. So we dug around and found that he left the coaching business because it was a scam. Of a shared office space fraud was looked into, and my lawyer found 3 civil suits. One was about a client said Rick had promised a government deal that never happened. Another person was a woman who said she paid her twice for the same plan. It got worse when we pulled financials. Rick had taken out a big loan against his that Dana and her family lived in were underwater. I guess that's why they cared all of a sudden about my money. I had proof now. They were lying and trying to trick you. But then it got personal again, and I woke up one morning to find a dead bird on my neck broken on the front step, wings folded. There were feathers everywhere. Someone in a hoodie again right after at 3 a.m. I sent the video to the police. This time, they meant it. Rick got a visitor, and all of a sudden I had levers, but I wasn't going to use them. I had to wait, though, because I had a plan, and it was almost time to make them feel everything they made me go through. A few days after the bird died, Rick and Dana letters stopped coming in visits. My lawyer told me the restraining order against Rick was being made. Lisa was no longer in CPS's care. They were pulling back, maybe scared I knew they weren't done, though. We're just changing plans. Then I got a letter from the court after one hit. Donna had asked for full settlement. The woman was trying to get a conservatorship. I wasn't mentally fit to handle my own. She brought me an old email that I had sent her after my wife died when I had written "I don't" when I was very sad. Know why I'm still here? Some days I want to sleep and not wake up. That, and ran with it. I told the court I was thinking about committing suicide. Said I was being used by a woman with no connection. Lisa said I had a criminal record and was giving my money to people I didn't know. I had 30 days to answer before an detective sent by the court would come check my mental health. It was the worst thing they could have done was hurt Lisa. Cried when she read the papers. I didn't want to be the one who let my family down. I told her the truth when she tried to hurt me. You didn't damage what they did, but I haven't told you this part yet. I had been making plans to move for months. The time Rick said he would challenge my will, I began writing down everything. Every message, every visit the CPS stops people from filing for guardianship. Even I wrote a full report on the dead bird. With movies, emails, and texts, the video footage from the camera and pictures of their false claims, my lawyer set it up into a nice book called Why They'll Don't Touch My Money. That wasn't the only thing I had was I paid $6,000 for a private detective. But it was worth every bit. And what he discovered that Rick had made a credit card account in his name. I gave him my social security number. Spent almost $7,800 on gadgets, flights, and food. Even paid for some of the Myrtle Beach trip with it. It took me a while. To get it, it was because the bills were sent to a PO fraud box he hired. That was the end nail. I called the bank, and they shut down the account and told the cops about it. My lawyer sent copies to the judge in charge of the same week. There was a conservatorship case. Too much? Dana's lawyer dropped her case. Too many lies were told, but I wasn't when I was done. I filed a civil suit against Rick for fraud and mental abuse. My lawyer brought all of we had dirt on him, like the business scams, the CPS stunt, and the threats credit card theft, and even the dead. I also included comments about the bird incident. From Lisa, her kids, her friends, and the Dana, the private detective, tried to stay away from her. She called me crying. Uncle Rick, I had no idea you were up to that. Didn't mean to hurt you. I was just afraid you would throw everything away. I asked her, why didn't you? Stop him when he locked the food. She grew quiet. I told them, you let your husband be mean to your dad. He made me ask while I stirred soup. I told her she could eat, and she cried. I hung up. After a few months, the court found in my favor. A judge told Rick to pay damages. The credit card was given an order. Fraud. His advisory business went out of business. He tried to begin a Savaibai. New one, but word spread. The funny thing about scam artists, once the mask comes off, no one forgets that Dana filed for divorce 6 months ago. After that, I didn't answer her message. Louisville. Soon after I gave the duplex, Lisa signed it in her own name. She cried so hard she couldn't stand up. She gave her boys a hug and told them to always look out for their mom. Then I packed up my things and left Kentucky for good. Moved to a Missouri small town and a small house on a peaceful street. I have a yard and a porch swing in the back. I joined the VFW in my area and made friends there. The diner even started taking dogs for walks. Sometimes I still stay. At shelter on the weekends, Miss Dana, I missed the show with her. That used to hang out with me on the porch. She asked me when she was 10 if birds ever fly too much. But that little girl is gone, and I learned something at last. You're not family just because you share blood, does. And if you let someone hurt, you start to feel like a burden for a long time. You should believe it until the day you don't. Today is the day when everything changes. They tried to break me, but I got back up, with better people, and I'll never be it to anyone else again.